Alright, welcome to another build video. This is my Magicka Nightblade, almost perma swarming Scion build. I'm sure you might have seen some of these before, and there's quite a few of them going around, but this one is my PvP focused one that I've been using in big fights and having a lot of fun with. So let's just jump into it. This is for the Blackwood chapter. We just got a new mythic, which really enables this. But to start off, we're just going to kind of look at the stats behind this build. So first off, just not in vampire form, we're going to have like 21,000 Magicka, 34 almost on the back bar, and I believe on the front bar it's about 36,000 health, and stamina is about 15,500. Our spell damage is pretty low. It's only going to be about 2,700, almost 2,800. Spell crit's pretty normal, 34%, but we have a high pen, 14,000 pen, and we'll get into how that's happening. No health recovery, 1,700 magic recovery, and a pretty low stamina recovery of 700. But this is all okay. It seems low, but we're going to be fine. Armor's pretty average, but again, this is fine. For sets, let's just jump into this. This is what really makes this build work. You kind of need all of these. It's a little complicated, but also not. So let's talk about them. First off, the big one is going to be the Vampire Lord set. The reason we're using this is we are a stage 4 vampire. So what that means is if we go and look at what stage 4 vampire does, this basically gives us the passives that we have no health recovery. We take 20% increased flame damage. Our regular abilities cost 12% more, but our vampire abilities cost 24% less. All right. So when you're a stage 4 vampire on the Vampire Lord set, if we're that stage 4, we take another 6% flame damage. Our regular abilities cost another 6%, but we have another 20% reduced vampire ability cost. These apply to the ultimate, which means that it is going to apply to our Swarming Scion ult. So we use that. We have the new mythic, the Shapeshifter's Chain. This reduces it another further 15% for the ultimate transformation. It also gives us another 1,700 for maximum health, stamina, and magicka while we're transformed. Okay, next up we have the Potentate's Ring, which the 2 pieces reduces damage by 3%. The 3 piece is reduce the cost of your ultimate abilities by 15%. So we're stacking these reductions up. So that gives us quite the reduction. And we're using the sword and board on the back, and on the front we're going to use dual-wield maces for more pen, and they're both sharpened. And this is where we finally have our last set, our Casus Genius. So the 5 piece on this, whenever you drink a potion while in combat, you and 3 of your group members gain 44 ultimate, and this can happen every 30 seconds. So how does this all work together? So on each of my pieces of jewelry, we have the 5-second potion cooldown glyph. This takes us from 45 to 30 seconds. That means on timer for our Casus Genius, we can pop a potion and get it. So every 30 seconds, we get 44. Plus we're a Nightblade, so our passive adds another 20. So we're getting 64 ultimate per potion just by drinking a potion when it's off cooldown. Then we have all the ultimate reduction and vampire reduction costs. So when you do all that, you end up getting it down to 148 ultimate. This is a 350 ultimate cost, and we've got it down 200. Now, I am a Khajiit, because that is what I have that is a rank 10 vampire. If you went with Imperial, you'd get another 6%. I believe that takes it down to 130. That is an insanely low value. An Imperial Nightblade, 130. With the potions, so you're talking about taking a 64 of that off. So basically 66 ultimate is what you have to gain, and you're back up to vampire ult. This is a really fun little weird mechanic interaction. For the build, all the body pieces, we went with 2 Arcasus Genius on the body, 5 Vampire Lords. We just didn't need the extra health, really, and we kind of want to get more of the benefits for our magicka regen. If you went with 3 pieces of Arcasis Genius and 4 Vampire Lords, and you made a ring Vampire Lord instead of Arcasis Genius, that's fine. Probably a little better for solo play or small scale if you're going to be using Blood for Blood instead of Arterial Burst as the spammable. But we'll get into that too. So all those Triglyphs, Impenetrable, you could do some Reinforced or Well Fitted as well. Really, you only need about 3 to 4 Impenetrable and you're probably going to be okay. But with the amount of Bombers going on and how much that's critting for, I went with a lot more Impen just to keep myself safer when I'm not in my Vampire form. Rings, we already talked about the enchantments, but then they're all 3 swift. So we want to be fast. We want to keep up with these fights. The fights are very mobile right now, so being fast and keeping up and being a giant AoE swarm is really strong. So, front bar, 2 maces, because we do get the penetration, spell pen now, and I made both of them sharpened. I right now have a flame and a shock glyph. I also had the absorb Magicka glyph. I think both of these work. It depends on how you're doing on Magicka. Flip, intermix is needed. You might do 1 flame, 1 absorb Magicka, or whatever. It really depends. But yeah, back bar, potentates. I did a sword and board because I like the sword and board charge. It is probably one of the better charges that we have available here. Again, more impen. Health actually on the shields just to be a little stronger. Decisive, let's get some more ultimate going on the back bar. So that's what we've got for sets. Let's jump into skills now. So on our front bar, I'm running Arterial Burst because in these big fights, I can't not be healed by group mates, so I kind of need that. If I was running solo and I was only doing like small scale, I'd probably go with Blood for Blood because it's a little bit stronger. But Arterial Burst is doing fine. It's a really cheap cost. It's really nice, and it actually gets a lot of kills, surprisingly. Are there better spammables? Probably, but this is meant to be a vampire build, so this is what it does. Sap Essence, this is a really good, strong build when you're in the middle of a bunch of people. You use it, you actually heal for that off of the Swarming Scion ult, the 15%, and then you're also healing on it from the Sap Essence portion. And you're giving yourself major sorcery. So this is a really strong skill. It keeps you alive in a lot of situations because you're just spamming it and just getting so much health back. Dark Cloak. We actually do not use the invisibility cloak on this one. We use Dark Cloak. We get heal per second, which is pretty low. It did get nerfed recently. I wish it hadn't. This should be a little bit stronger. It really should be buffed up. It's not that strong. And you get minor protection, which, great. Okay. I'll take that. I'm spamming it enough as it is. It's basically always going up. It is expensive because of the vampire costing, but that's fine. We actually do fine on Magicka. Merciless Resolve. This is always just a good damage. Alternatively enough, it also, remember, as you get stacks up, increases your critical damage and critical healing, which means you're siphoning your Sap Essence, which is quite a few hits, can critically heal you. And if you have a 34% chance, you're going to heal off of 1 out of 3 hits. So if you're in the middle of like 10 people, you're probably going to get 3 critical hit heals, which is a lot. So really good just to keep up. I've moved to Radiant Mage Light, especially. There's a lot of Nightblades out there, a lot of bombers, and the fact that this will prevent you and allies nearby from being stunned from stealth attacks is huge. This can mess up a lot of things for a lot of Nightblades. So I like it. I like it better than the other one these days, even though it doesn't provide as much damage because you don't get the max Magicka increase. But I think if you're going to run it and no one's running it, run this one at least, and hopefully more people run it because you do need to kind of be semi-tight and you don't want to be that tight for bombs. Soul Harvest, this is just to get ultimate. We're not really ever going to use it. If you kill someone and you're not a vampire, great, you're going to get 10 ultimate. If not, don't worry about it. You're really just using that for the ultimate gain. Our back bar, we have Invasion. So Invasion is a way to stun people. It is our gap closer. That's all it is. Then we've got Race Against Time. This will give you your snare immunity and immobilization immunity. It also gives you movement speed with that Major Expedition, which is great. So that's always nice. And Exhilarating Drain. This is how we get a lot of ultimate fast. you pop this on someone, and in that 3 seconds, you get 12 ultimate. If you had hit him with a light attack before, you're also getting another 9, so 21 ultimate in 3 seconds is a lot of ultimate. So this is how you get your ultimate back fast, and then you pop a potion, you run like 3 of these, and your vampire ult's back up. Really great, really strong, and it heals you as well. Not a lot, but at least some. Mirage, this is just another way to proc Major Resolve. For a Nightblade, you pop this, you get the additional resistances as well. So this helps you get quite tankier fast, because I think it's going to end up being like 6, 7, 8,000 extra resistances for 26 seconds. That's a lot with Major Resolve, so definitely worth keeping. Alternatively, you could drop Race Against Time if you feel like you're fast enough, and swap in the Phantasmal Escape. It does have a little bit longer, and by a little bit I mean twice as long, for Snare and Immobilization immunity. So that's crazy, but it doesn't give the extra 3,000 resistances. But hey, if you're just trying to get that extra 2 seconds, that might be worth it. You can swap Race Against Time with something else, such as the Nightblade Fear, so Mass Hysteria. That's also an option. Finally, siphoning attacks. This is I'm still kind of on the fence with. Basically, extra Magicka back and health back, which is never bad, but you have to be in melee range with someone to get it working. So there are other options that you could pick to do this. You could get a Shade and use that to port around as needed, or you could pick up some other ability, such as Cripple, one of the Cripple morphs. So there are some options. Don't feel like you have to go with that. And finally, Swarming Scion. This is the big bread and butter of the build. Get the 10,000 health, Magicka, and stamina. You heal for 18% of all damage you're doing, and you can see enemies through walls. You are also doing a swarm of bats around you that deal like about 2,000 Magicka damage a second on this build. Really good. So you combine that with all the other damage you're doing. You're really hard to take down. In a big group, like a ball group, you are going to take a lot of damage, but if you have a good healer in your group, you're going to be really hard to take down. In some cases, we've fought 3 times their numbers, and I'm just in the middle of them, just swarming Scion, lose it, get it back up, every like 10 seconds, and it's like crazy. It's just so hard to kill this build. Let's talk about food. I'm running Witch Mother's Potent Brew. You could go up to the gold food version. I just prefer this right now because it's cheap, and I'm cheap. But yeah, you could definitely pick up the max health Magicka and Magicka Recovery gold food. Potions, Magicka immovability for more tri-pots, detection pots, spell power pots. Just regular pots to proc Arcasis even. You can just take the ones that you have 1,000 of and just use them when you need. And, just a simple green, red, or blue pot that you're just collecting that doesn't do a whole lot, that only has like one effect, that can actually just be feeding Arcasis, so you're not using expensive tripods every time. Because you do need to feed Arcasis to keep this up. We are Vampire. We go all the way up to 4. We do like that because there are some passives in there that really help us. Obviously, the ultimate reduction is the biggest one. But I mean, on death, really strong at stage 3. Reduces damage up to 30% based on your missing health. So the weaker you get, the tankier you get, and you're healing all the time, and it does make it hard to kill you. Usually you have to have a couple guys actually take you down. Unnatural movement is just a nice side effect. You sprint, you become invisible, and hey, look, you have invisibility even though you're using Dark Cloak. Moondust Stone, right now I am using the Atronach for more Magicka recovery. I do like to keep up Magicka recovery above around 1700. We are a little bit lower, but once you take a resource or something else, you actually go above 18, almost I think about 1900, which keeps you at a really good space, and then you're popping potions, so if you just use like Alliance Spell Power Pots, you're going to be fine on Magicka, and then you'll have even more with Major Intellect, so don't worry too much about that. As far as the build goes, that's pretty much it. It is a really fun build. It is, something that you just keep up. You're running all the time. You're that vampire. I've been running it in Battlegrounds as well, and it's been doing well there. You do create a big area where enemies don't want to be. You're going to cause them to scatter. So when you have these fights in there, you kind of jump in and transform into a vampire. You kind of scatter the groups out away from you, and they become much easier to pick off. So it's a fun build. You're not going to be like the 1v1 solo superstar, but it is fun, and that's what this is about. So this is my version, my PvP version of the perma swarming Scion build that we've been hearing about and seeing, and people are waiting for that shapeshifter change. So you know, really feel free to play around with it and enjoy it, and we'll kind of jump into some gameplay here, but you stay safe out there.